9:16 here on the morning show with Jeff and Will. It's AM 1700 WRCR Haverstraw, WRCR.com. Joining us now, as she always does at this time on a Monday, it's Tina Traster of RCBizJournal.com. Good morning, Tina.
Good morning, Rockland County. How is everybody's day?
We're good. How are you?
I can't complain.
Sure you can. We traffic in complaining all the time.
All right. Well,
but you don't have to.
One day I'll organize all my complaints.
We welcome it. Sure, why not? We could be your therapy session. It's all good.
That sounds excellent. in the meantime, speaking of one-on-one, next editor, Meet the Editor will be August 16th, Wednesday at 8:30, roasted, same place, same time. So people should come on down and tell me what's on their mind.
And I know you and I we got to get together and figure out when we could do a joint shindig at some point somewhere.
I think that would be really valuable.
Yep.
I really think that would be a great idea, and let's talk offline about that. I think it's
Indeed.
a great idea. Also, I wanted to remind Rockland County that we are putting out a newsletter every Monday, separate from our regular daily newsletter. That is it has to do with cannabis. Marijuana Mondays is what it's called, and it's keeping track of that industry and all the changes. And it's a fast-moving industry with a lot of legislation, a lot of new licenses, a lot of information. It's free to sign up, so I would urge people who want to be in the know on that subject to sign up for that newsletter. Because there's a lot of information that's happening quickly, and we're, gathering for you, making it easy to stay on top of that. And speaking of cannabis and marijuana, the Cannabis Control Board last week passed a resolution allowing what they're calling, quote, showcase events, which would enable licensed growers and retailers to coordinate retail sales at fairs, festivals, concerts, and farmers markets. And there are no actual regulations available yet. That could take some time, but that's moving forward. That's interesting to me, particularly in the context of Rockland County, where the ability to have retail was rejected essentially across the board, except for in a handful of villages and in the town of Haverstraw. So it'll be interesting to see if within a township, if somebody's having a festival, how that works exactly. I assume that they will be able to, have representation at the fairs, festivals, concerts, and farmers markets, even in towns that rejected the ability for retail vendors in their towns. So interesting. We will definitely stay on top of that. On another note, the Cannabis Control Board, this is a state board, last Wednesday also approved over 200 more conditional adult use retail dispensary licenses, which brings it up to a total of 500. But then again, there are only 20 that are open right now. And the approved licenses have a year to secure a spot and get it approved by the CCB. You may recall that we did a piece on Seth Marks, who is underway with opening one in Nyack on Route 59. So we'll actually get to see what this really looks like here in our own county, because this really is taking off all around us, and it represents economic opportunity. And it seems unfortunate to miss out on something that could be rather large. And also the flip side of that is, when you attempt to legislate against something that's happening all around you, I think inadvertently you create a black market. You create an illicit market because it's legal all around us. So I think that those dynamics are going to continue to be something that we will watch, and at some point it will really be very explosive. And all the town supervisors, who were quick to keep this out of the towns, will most likely have to revisit this. But we will be there every step of the way, reporting on this to see what is going on. Any thoughts on that before I move on?
Nope. You can move on, indeed.
Okay. In other news, last week we were talking about very large tracts of land and how they are to be redeveloped, or the pitfall of them, staying undeveloped, lagging, becoming fallow. And we were talking about the HNA Palisades Center. I was drawing a contrast between that and iPark 87 up in Kingston, the former IBM campus, explaining how finally, because of a combination of public and private partnership, that campus is going to be completely redeveloped with partners in education and pharma and tech. So in local news, the HNA Palisades Center, that story took another turn. It seems that now that they will be turning that property over to the New York City-based mega REIT, SL Green, to satisfy a part of the $185 million that HNA owes SL Green. Now, this creates a real, I don't know whether it's a hitch or whether it's an opportunity for Teresa Kenny and the company that was hoping to this company called Reveal, that was hoping to come in and purchase the property from HNA and redevelop it with an updated hotel conference center. And they had a whole ambitious raft of ideas for the 106-acre property. But now you've got SL Green in the middle of all of this. Now, we do know that Reveal couldn't seem to make the deal. They couldn't seem to get that property away from HNA, and that stretched on for 2 years. And like I was saying, that's a property that was turning fallow and was turning into such a problem that the township had to initiate eminent domain. Now with SL Green, does this ease the way, meaning SL Green will be cooperative with the town and Reveal and recognize that, they've got an easy solution lined up? Or will SL Green, being the, mega REIT that it is, will they say, well, we don't need this developer, Reveal, we'll go ahead and we'll do what we want with this property, or we'll sell it ourselves? Who knows? This remains a big question mark. So the town can still proceed in eminent domain and condemnation, but I don't know if they will. It's a mystery. It's a big question mark, and it's an important story to keep watching because it involves so many players and a big piece of land, a big important piece of land, and it's going to just be an important story to track, and we will definitely continue to do that. Thirdly, as this has been a busy week, sometimes I think it's not busy at all, but then I get on this radio and I realize, yeah, it is a busy week. In Clarkstown is hoping to put a little more city in New City. The town last week, very without any, seemingly nobody had anything to say, passed at the public hearing, passed a local law that would update the zoning along North and South Main Street in New City, which is called the New City Hamlet District. And the New City will allow mixed use and residential projects up and down both sides of the street, in some cases with buildings as tall as 70 feet. Now, Clarkstown has never allowed residential development on the west side of Main Street, but the new law opens the door to that. And it also allows drive-through restaurants on parcels of 5 acres or more, as well as other changes. We lay this out in our story last week. The interesting part of the story is that the planning board had recommended denser development, and they were trying to also loosen the code where that it wouldn't just, that the density wouldn't just be for 55 plus senior housing, but for any kind of development, because I think that the planning board, like no other board, recognizes what seems to be just rampant senior housing development. And I guess I think somebody said, they didn't want to see New City become a retirement community. So they were trying to level the playing field and make it the zoning more open, but the town board did not go for that, and they decided to stick with what the zoning proposal had in mind, and they passed it. This is sort of interesting because they've also attempted to, they have rezoned Nanuet. They call it the transit-oriented development, and have played around with zoning and density. Although I don't know, what are we on? 3 years later now? Not a single shovel has hit the ground. So these are it's interesting. I think that Crosstown is trying to progress into something that will attract more dense housing and more development. I guess, but it's I guess you have to start with zoning. That makes sense, so that developers don't have to fight codes. But as far as we know right now, we haven't seen the fruit of any of the rezoning over at Nanuet, so we'll have to see, whether this stimulates any kind of interest from the development community as well.
Should be interesting. We'll keep an eye on that, as I know you will too. Thank you very much for joining us as always this morning, Tina Traster of rcbizjournal.com. If you want more information, just go to the website, rcbizjournal.com. You can sign up for newsletters and get all sorts of information there as well. Thank you, Tina, for joining us. We'll talk to you again next Monday. We'll talk during the week maybe about when we can do a co-shindig together.
Call me.
Will do.